Hello, boys and girls. So today we're going to talk about capitalizing historical events and documents. This entire week we're talking about proper nouns, and the difference between a common noun and a proper noun is that proper nouns get capitalized. Proper nouns are also very specific. So for example, if I go ahead and write your name at the top of your paper. If I wanted to talk about a common noun, I might say boy. If I wanted to use that as a proper noun, I might say cruise and I would capitalize it, right? If I wanted to use a common noun, I might say school. If I used a proper noun, I might want to say Linscott and capitalize it. If I said, let's say I wanted to say potato chips, and I wanted to say a proper noun, I would capitalize it and I might say Lay's potato chips, right? So a common noun is just a person, place, or thing. So it's a person, place, or thing. A common noun is any person, place, or thing. And a proper noun is a specific person, place, or thing. Okay? So that's kind of how I keep them separate in my mind. You're not going to always capitalize nouns, but you are going to always capitalize proper nouns, right? So up above here, it says proper nouns are always capitalized. Proper nouns are words that name a particular person, place, or thing. The names of important historical events and documents are also proper nouns and should be capitalized. So here's an example of one that is a common noun, a war, right? That's not capitalized. However, if we look at, zoom in a little bit, if we look at a very specific war, which you'll learn about next year in 5th grade, American Revolutionary War, these are all capitalized because that is a specific war. If we use the noun a document, that's a common noun. We're not really being specific about any one document. If we mention the Declaration of Independence, Declaration and Independence are capitalized because it's a specific document. You can actually go and look at it. And we don't capitalize the of because of is one of those tiny words in between words that doesn't get capitalized. Remember, do not capitalize small words like and, of, and the. So that's also why the American Revolutionary War isn't capitalized. Okay? So we're going to write the sentences correctly. We're going to add capital letters where they're needed. What I always do first when I have to correct things, I just mark it up on the paper. And then I can just recopy the things, right? And it's easier to do that. So after the War of 1812, many pioneers went west. The War of 1812 was a very specific war. It was a war that we fought with England. And English troops actually came over here and set the White House on fire and burned the White House down. And luckily, the president's wife, her name was Dolly Madison, went in and pulled all of the paintings and saved lots of really famous artwork, took it out to the front lawn while the White House burned. So she saved some really famous pieces of art with her quick thinking. So I'm going to capitalize war. We don't have to worry too much about of, remember, because that's a short word. So is the. 1812 doesn't need capitalization. Many pioneers went west. That seems fine to me. So I'm going to write it correctly. After the War of 1812, comma, many pioneers went west. Also, another reason why many people went west is because most of the settlers were all living over here in the 13 colonies, right? So they were living in this little section of the United States. They lived kind of in this area. There was a big mountain range right here called the Appalachian Mountains. It's not one of the taller mountain ranges in the United States. It's not even super tall, but there was only a couple of ways to get through, and so it kept all the people stayed over here. Then once more and more people, more and more settlers started to come over here, it got a little bit crowded. So people started going through these little paths, these little ways to get through the mountains, and they started moving. People started moving westward, right? Around 1812 was when it was starting to get really crowded over here in this part of the United States. Clipper ships were used in the California Gold Rush. So this drives me crazy. This is a major event in our state's history, and my class always seems to forget to capitalize it last year. So we're going to capitalize California because it's a state. Gold Rush. Clipper's already capitalized. It wouldn't be capitalized if it weren't the beginning of the sentence. So we're going to zoom in a little bit. There we go, a little too much. We're going to start out with Clipper ships. And we're going to capitalize California. Capitalize Gold. Capitalize Rush. A clipper ship is a very fast sailing ship, and people wanted to get to California to look for gold quickly before all the gold ran out, and so they wanted to use fast ships to get there, and clipper ships were very speedy ships. Clipper ships were not common after the Civil War. So, Civil War. So, we only have to capitalize Civil War. Civil War. So, right around the time of the Civil War, there were improvements made in ships. And one of the big improvements that was made is that ships used both sails and steam power. Steam power was a huge development, and it allowed ships to move faster. If you have a ship that has both steam power and sails, if the weather's bad and it's not windy enough for your ship to move, then the steam, you can burn some wood and the steam power will make your ship move, right? Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation during the war. So we don't have to capitalize war because it's not specifically saying Civil War. This, however, Emancipation Proclamation was a document that Abraham Lincoln signed, and it freed slaves in the southern part of the United States. It caused a lot of Southerners to become very angry with the government. Emancipate means to free. So the Emancipation Proclamation, to proclaim means you're announcing to everyone, you're shouting it out. So this is like a document a freedom document that was passed so that slaves would be free, slavery would be illegal in the United States. All right, so now you know that when you're talking about proper nouns, you need to make sure that you capitalize historical events and like wars. I don't know what you would refer to the gold rush as. It definitely was a historical event, but it doesn't really fit into any real, it defies category. But any events in history that are kind of important always get capitalized if they're specific events. Also, so do documents if they're specific documents. They get capitalized. Okay, I hope this helps. Thanks for listening.